Hello everyone, today let's solve the problem number 1321, restaurant growth, right? So what the question states here, you are a restaurant owner analyzing a possible expansion, right? So you want to compute the 7-day moving average of total amount customers paid each day. So this is very important. Just listen to this again. You want to compute the 7-day moving average of the total amount customers paid each day. So this is very important. The 7-day window includes the current day and the 6 previous days. So it includes current day and the 6 previous days, right? So the output should include the total amount and the 7-day average amount that is rounded to 2 decimal places. So just give me a second. Let's see the output here. Yeah, you can clearly see here. So the output should include the total amount and the 7-day average amount, total amount and this one 7-day average amount rounded to 2 decimal places. Here you can clearly see rounded to 2 decimal places. They have strictly mentioned in the question. So we have to return the result table ordered by visited on. Ordered by visited on means here ascending order based on the dates, right? So here you can clearly see 7 comes first, 72019, 712019, 812019, 912019 and 101219. So this is ascending order, right? So they have strictly mentioned here return the result table ordered by visited on an ascending order. Only include rows where a complete 7-day window is available. So they have strictly mentioned we have to include only those rows where a complete 7-day window is available. I hope this is completely clear. The question is completely clear, right? So now let's come to the example here. Let's come to the first example here. Let's consider the same. Just give me a second here. So yeah, let's consider the same thing here. So here in this, so we know one thing, that output should include the total amount and the 7-day average amount that is rounded to 2 decimal places. Here we have already discussed this one, right? In the question. Also we have to return the result table that is ordered by visited on in the ascending order. This one I'm speaking of. So we have discussed this one as well. So we have to include only rows where a complete 7-day window is available, right? So let's see. Let's discuss the first example here. So here first window that is from this one 112019 to 712019. I'm speaking of this one. So this one I'm speaking of first window from 01012019, from this one, the first one, to 20190107 means 07012019. This one I'm speaking of until 07, right? So this one we are considering till here, right? So here the first window from 01012019 to 07012019, total here is, you can sum up till here, this one, the total amount here will be 860. Here this one if you sum up you will get 860, 100 plus 110 plus 120 plus 130 plus 110 140 plus 140 plus 150. You'll, if you sum up this one, you'll get the solution. I mean you'll get the total 860. So when we do the average, so when again I'm telling, when we do the average 7 we have, right? When we do the average 860 by 7, we will get here in this case 122.86. So 122.86. This is average. Again I'm telling, when we calculate the average, so this is A, we will get here 122.86 in this case. This is the first window. I hope this is clear. This one I'm speaking of from 1 to 7, right? 01012019 to 07012019 I'm speaking of. So let's consider the second window here from 02 to 08 here in this case. So we are considering from this one 02 to 08, this one, this 7. So let's consider this one 02 to 08. So when you sum up this one, we are going with 110 to 80. 110 plus 120 plus 130 plus 110 plus 140 plus 150 plus 80. So here the sum, when you do the sum, the total will be 840 in this case, and this will lead to the average of, if you want to calculate the average, give a 7. divided by 7. So this will give us 120 point nothing 120 in this case, just 120, right? This is the average from Daniel to this one Maria, right? So this is the average basically from 0 to 0 0 to 01 2019 to 0801 2019, right? So next third window is 0301 2019 to 0901 2019. Same thing. We will be considering from third one in this case. So from this one to 09. So let me consider here this one to 09, right? So here in this case we will sum up from 120 to 110, right? So from 120 to 110. So here same thing, the total will be 840 for this as well. You can just count 840 and average will be 120 itself from 3 to 9, same thing, right? So this is fine, this will be considered as average basically. So this is the third window. So let's come to the last window or the final window. Here fourth window we will consider from 04 to 10 here. In this case 04, this one to 10 here, right? So 10 we have duplicate, so you can consider anyone, right? Here in this case. So the this one, the total will be we are summing up from this one 04 from Khalid to Jade, right? So from Khalid to Jade, if you sum up, you'll start from 130 and you'll end up at 150. So 130 plus 110 plus this one 140 plus 150 plus 80 plus 110 plus 130 or 150. You can consider either one, right? So here total we will get 1000 in this case. So total we will get 1000 in this case, and the average will be 142.86. So 142.86 in this case. So this will be the average when you calculate. You can just calculate, right? Average will be 142. So this is the solution that we got, and this is what we need to return, right? Return in the form of output. So here amount 860 we got total for the first window, 860. For the second window we got 840 here in this case. This is fine. For the third window we got 840 again. This is fine. And the fourth window we got 1000 here in this case. So this is fine. So average amount here, the first one we got 122.86. This is fine. For the second one we got 120. This is fine. For the third one we got 120. And for the fourth one also we got 142.86. Sorry. Yeah. Here in this case 142.86. This is how we got the output. First window, second window, third window, fourth window we considered, right? So this is how we got the output. I hope the question is completely clear. What we need to do is completely clear as well. So they have clearly explained the same thing in the explanation. First moving average from this one to this one has average amount of 100 plus 110. That's what divided by 7. Yeah, 122.86. Same thing goes for the second, third and fourth window. That's what I explained, right? So I hope the question is completely clear. What we need to do is completely clear as well, right? So first, as usual, let's discuss the approach and then write the query. First, let's discuss the approach. So here in the first step, let's discuss the approach step by step. So in the first step, we will aggregate the daily amounts. So we will be aggregating the daily amounts, right? So when I say we will aggregate the daily amounts, we first what we will do, we will calculate the total amount that is paid by customers on each day using the sum keyword that is provided by the SQL, right? This is very important. First, we will calculate the total amount that is paid by customers on each day, right? Using sum, right? That's what we will do. So let's move on with the second step. This is easier to understand. We are just aggregating the daily amounts in this case. Let's move on with the second step here. In this case, we will join for 7-day window. When I say we will join for 7-day window, so we considered first window 7 days, second window 7 days, third window 7 days, and fourth window 7 days in the first example, right? From 1 to 7, from 2 to 8, from 3 to 9, and from 4 to 10, if you remember, right? So that's what we did from 1 to 7, 2 to 8, 3 to 9 and 4 to 10, if you remember. For the first example I'm speaking of, we considered the first example and we discussed the same thing, right? So we will join the 7-day window. That's what we will be doing. We will be making use of the join keyword here, self join. We will be making use of the join to some value for rolling 7-day window, right? So we will make use of the join keyword to some value for a rolling 7-day window. I hope this is clear. So the third step here is we will filter the complete windows. When I say we will filter the complete windows, we will ensure the window covers exactly 7 days here in this case. So we will make sure that window covers exactly 7 days. In our case, it was from 1 to 7, right? So this covered 7 days, next 2 to 8, this covered 7 days, next 3 to 9, this also covered 7 days, and the final one is 4 to 10, this also covered 7 days, right? So we have to ensure the window covers exactly 7 days. For that, to ensure that one, we will be making use of the keyword having count equals 7. So having and count is provided by the SQL, so we will be making use of having count equals 7. This is fine, 7, because we have to ensure that window covers exactly 7 days, and these keywords are provided by the SQL. We know this one, right? So this is it. Join for 7-day window and filter complete window, these two things. Now let's move on with the final one, or the fourth one here in this case. We have to compute and format the average. So by 7, if you remember, so first one we got 840, I think. I don't remember exactly, but this was 840 by 7 we did, right? Or 862 point something by 7 we did. Then 840 by 7 we did. Same thing for the four things. We divide that by 7, right? That's what. We have to compute and format the average here in this case. So we have to calculate the moving average using round. So why we are making use of round? Because we have to this one round off to the 2 decimal places. In this case 122.86 something we got for the fourth one, I think. So in the question itself we discussed that we have to round off to the 2 decimal places. They have strictly asked in the question. That is the reason we'll be making use of the round keyword here, right? So we have to calculate the moving average, or we have to compute the moving average using the round, and we have to order by. When I say we have to order by, means we have to sort by. In this case it is sorting. So we have to sort by visited on. We have to sort by visited on. When I say we have to sort by, we have to sort by visited on, right? So visited on, that is the column on this one, basically column that is that we have to use in the output table, right? So calculate the moving average using the round keyword and order by or sort by visited on, right? So if you remember, the dates were we have to sort the dates basically in the visited on column, right? First we have to get the that we have to sort in the ascending order. That's it. I don't want to tell anything. We have already discussed that one in the example. First thing, we have discussed the same thing, right? So these are the 4 things that we need to keep in mind. So first step here is aggregate daily amounts. The second step here is join for 7-day window. The third step here is filter complete windows, and the fourth step here is compute and format the average, right? So these are the 4 steps that we need to keep in mind. So this is the approach that we will be going with. As we are familiar with the approach, now it will be easier to write the query. Now let's start writing the query. If you remember, we have to aggregate the daily amounts. So I'll be making use of the, so here let me write this with I should have we would have made use of the common table expression as well, right? So this is fine. I'll just go with here with daily sum as, so let me open the parenthesis here. This is fine. So within this, let's select the visited on, and we have to sum the amount, right? So we have to sum the amount. We have to aggregate the daily amounts. That's what we'll be doing in the first step. So let me make use of the select. So visited on. So this one, visited on, which is of the type date here. This one. So here, what I did, this has to be, I have mistyped this one. Just give me a second here. Select. So this is visited on, right? I have copied the same thing here, visited on, and we have to sum the amount. So I'll be making use of here. So what is happening here? This is lagging. Just give me a second here. Yeah, let's make use of here sum keyword that is provided by SQL. Sum of amount. This one, as I'll just give amount in this case, right? So this is coming from the customer table. So this one, let me copy the same thing here. Just give me a second here. Let me copy the same thing here. This is coming from the customer table, and we will group by, or we have already discussed this one, that we will be grouping by visited on. Visited. So I should have copied this one. This is fine. So this is fine. This is it for the first step we discussed. Now let's move on with the second step here. We have to compute the 7-day moving average, right? So that's what we need to do. So we have to compute the 7-day moving average. If you remember, 1 to 7, 2 to 8, 3 to 9, and 4 to 10. That's what we did here, right? For this one, basically for the customer table. So that's how we calculated here amount and average amount. If you remember, right? So this here ending date we have mentioned here 701, 801, 901, and 1001. Ending date we have mentioned here, right? So this is fine. So now what we are doing, we have to compute 7-day moving average. So let's go with select here in this case. Let's go with select in this case. Select. So this will be d1 dot visited underscore on. This is fine. And again, we have to go with the sum. We have to sum the amount, right? So I'll be making use of the sum keyword that is provided by the SQL. So this one will be d2 dot amount. So we will, let's consider this one as amount. This is fine, easier to understand, right? So we have to round off to the 2 decimal places. That's what they have asked in the question strictly, right? Here you can clearly see 122.86. So we have to round off to the 2 decimal places that they have asked in the question strictly. So let me make use of the round keyword here. We have already discussed this one. So I don't think we have to do, just give me a second. Yeah, let's go with round here itself. In this case, we have to sum up, right? Here, amount. Sum up all the amounts and then take the average, right? So I'll just go with here in this case, sum of d2 dot amount here in this case, sum of d2 dot amount. So this one I'm considering as amount. So this is fine. This one I'm considering as amount here in this case. So did I miss anything here? Just give me a second here. d2 dot amount, round of some. So this one I got confused, I think here. Just give me a second here. Sum of d2 dot amount we have already done, right? Sum of amount. So where did I miss here? Just give me a second here in this case. So this has to be round of this one. We have to sum of d2 amount itself. We are taking the average right here. So yeah, for so average this has to be divided by 7 and we are rounding off to 2 decimal places. So this is what we are doing. This is fine. So I got confused here, sorry. So this one, let's consider this one as average amount. So they have given here average amount, right? So here let me copy the same thing and paste it over here. Sorry, I got confused here. This is basically coming from daily sum, right? So this is coming from the daily sum. Where is daily sum here? Let me type here daily underscore sum d1, right? So this is fine. And let's join daily sum d2. This is fine. This is on d2 dot visited underscore on between date underscore sub here d1 dot. So I'll just consider here visited underscore on. So let me give here, let me make use of the interval here in this case interval. So this has to be 6 days, right? From 1 to 7, 2 to 8. So we will be considering between 6 days. So total 7 days, between 6 days, right? So 6 day. Let me give here. So 1 to 7 means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be 6 days, right? So this we will be considering. And let me give here d1 dot visited underscore on. This is fine. So this is it for the second step, right? So let me leave a line gap here so that it will be easier to understand, right? So let's move on with the third step here. If you remember the third step or the step 3, so we have to ensure a complete 7-day window, right? So for that I'll be making use of group by keyword. We have already discussed this one in the approach. So this one will be d1 dot visited underscore on. This is fine. and we will be making use of the having clause. We'll be making use of the having keyword here. This one count of uh, d2 dot visited on. So this has to be 7 days, right? So we have to ensure, we are ensuring a complete 7-day window here on this case. That is the reason we are uh, giving count of d2 dot visited on. This one has to be equal to 7 in this case, right? So the final step is we have to sort by date, right? If you remember, we are sorting this one visited, we are sorting this one by the date. 7 comes first, 8 comes second, 9 comes third, and 10 comes fourth here. So we are sorting this one based on the ascending order, right? So I'll just give here order by. So as we are sorting in the ascending order, we don't have to mention this one ascending or AAC, right? So I'll just give here d1 dot visited on. So let me copy this one and paste it over here. This is fine. This is it for the query. Let me hit the run button. I hope this works. Let's see. So yeah, you can clearly see here the sample test case is getting passed, right? Let me hit the submit button quickly. So here you can clearly see all the test cases are getting passed. Means the query that we have written works absolutely correct on this case, right? So I hope whatever the query that we have written is completely clear as well, right? For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.